Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Yes indeed folks, welcome to another weekly recap. I was looking forward to doing all this for you. You'll recall that last week was kind of a hectic week. And this week was much more regular or standard, if you will. Lots of stuff happening, but good stuff. And it's part of the daily grind. But at least there was very little court action, so we kind of took care of some of the clients that were ignored last week because of my busy schedule, and started preparing other files for future court battles, etc. But the important thing for us here is that I got to use my pens quite a bit, because quite a few notes were taken, meetings were had, etc. So I'll show you those pens in one of the segments here. I've got a wonderful show for you today. I've got some different stuff. We've got some Q&A that I've added into the mix, because there were a lot of questions from the viewers from last week's recap and some of the YouTube reviews. I figured I'd answer them all at once and give the benefit of the answers to all of you. So stay tuned. Lots of packed action. I'm going to try to get it all in within an hour. You know me, it's probably going to take a few minutes more, but take a look at those timestamps. Absorb it slowly. Or all at once at breakfast on Sunday morning, as you wish. It's a lot of fun. It's Fountain Pen Therapy, folks. So stay tuned. Here is Fountain Pen Therapy weekly recap for March the 9th, 2025. Okay, so this is the first segment. It's going to be what's out there, in the fountain pen world and market, in terms of what's being offered for sale and what's happening. Not much, folks. I got to tell you, nothing really new. But I'm going to take a look at some of the new products that I've managed to find, and rather than look at nothing, I'm going to show you what I've ordered, because fountain pen therapy. Despite how slow that market appears to be, you know me, I'm always buying something. It always amazes me how some of these channels can, provide beautiful content without ever buying anything. I don't know how they do it. I take a look at my friend Hemingway Jones. He's got all these original videos, but very few new products are introduced. And yet he manages to put together beautiful shows. I wish I could do that, but you know what? To each his own. I like to buy and show and tell, so we're going to do that, okay? First thing, what have we got for you? Well, in the Chinese pet market, let me just cut to the only novelty that I see here is this Dieman 100. Now, you might be saying, well, what's new about that? I'll show you what's new. There's a new version that's out. It's the Dieman. Let me just get it there. Here it is. It's a new Dieman, and they call it the Ode, 100. It's got a different ink window, so updated ink window. It's got supposedly an updated top. I think the old one didn't have the red star, but just a kind of a silverish beige star. And, you know, perhaps a new nib. Well, we'll take care of it. We'll take a good look at that when we get it. But all to say that that's really the only new product that I was able to find for you. I did, however, let me just go to my order here on AliExpress. I did, however, order other stuff for you. First thing, or for me as well. First of all, here it is, the LT Ongdian Ode 100. So we'll see what differences there are in this new version. I ordered a bunch of Aero inks. I have one Aero ink bottle. It's a blue, and it's just a beautiful ink, and I figured I'd order a bunch. I've ordered a bunch there. I've also ordered 3 more. I think there's just 3. Yeah, this kind of purple, green, and another blue of the Majon inks, which I found just absolutely fabulous. I'm using them more and more. And as promised, I've ordered also this Jinao 10. Yes, I've finally taken the jump, as they say. Figure, you know, this is a nice pen. It's not too expensive. So that's been ordered. Now, so that's in terms of inks. Those are the inks and products from the Chinese pen market. What else have I got for you? Well, as promised, I did order this Graphilo. Where is it? Yeah, this Cobia Graphilo paper. I've also ordered this, what they call it doesn't appear here because it's written in Chinese, but it's the Tsubame notebook, A5 ruled. I did have the Monokaki notebook that I wanted to purchase. You see here a picture of it. But on Amazon, it was going like in anywhere else. You know, when you pay for the delivery, it cost me almost $80 for not even 100 pages. So, you know what? I've scrapped that for the time being. But I did order this William Anna paper. Let me just... yeah, here it is. One of my viewers reminded me of this paper. I've always meant to purchase it, and I keep forgetting. So we're going to get some William Anna paper along with these kind of rings that you could put it all together. And I've ordered some of the lined paper that goes with it. So looking forward to receiving that. So that's in terms of paper products. What else have I got for you? Oh, yes. Well, you'll remember that my friend Fontaine de Plume reviewed the Aurora Talentum Dedalo. And here is a picture of that offering on Giardino Italiano. And I wanted to order that pen, but I didn't like the blue version, and I didn't like the white version. So I went on Applebaum and I found this other Talentum version. As you can see, not the ballpoints, but there is a, here it is. This one here, this is what I've ordered from Applebaum. Now, I did have a dilemma. Look at all the choices they have in terms of nibs. I wanted to go out of the box, but I chose not to. I think I've ordered the medium, given that I already have fine. But, you know, there was an italic broad, there was a stub, there was this Gotcha offerings. Gotcha is like more of an architect nib. And there was this Flex Fine. The Flex Fine really tempted me. It was $77 more. But I got to tell you that I'm not sure that I think I already have one. So let me show you something, and maybe you guys can help me here. Because this pen is on order, by the way. Applebaum didn't have it in stock. They wrote to me to say that they're probably going to get it in about 2 to 3 weeks. In the meantime, if I can change the order, I will do so. So let me just ask for your assistance here. I'm going to go to my overhead camera. Here are the two two Auroras that I own. Well, I own all kinds of smaller versions and vintage and steel nib versions, but here are the two gold versions that I own. This is the Optima O Sole Mio, and this is the 88. Now, what I need you to look at, this is the Optima is a fine. This is a fine as well, but I've got a feeling that this fine is actually a flex nib. It's probably the flex fine of Aurora. I'm not sure. I'm just wondering if you guys can help me identify that. You'll see the feeds are pretty similar. I've seen the flex nib with an F on that feed. I don't see an F there, but I do see an F here, which means that the F on the feed is really not for flex, but it's just for fine. I just got a feeling the way this nib is shaped on my 88 that I'm actually looking at the flex nib. Can you see it's a little more pointy? Let me show you how it looks like when I write. Let me get out one of my notebooks. Here is the nib. Now, in terms of flex, yeah, because I've read up on it, the Aurora Flex is not really a flex. It's probably just a soft nib with some line variation, if you will. And this one gives me exactly that. So as you can see, it gives me some, lightly, if I press, it gives me more, and it can give me some line variation that way. I've got a feeling that this is, in fact, the flex nib. So I hesitated to order another one if I already have one. If you guys can help, let me know. So that's my 88, which is, by the way, is just a beautiful pen, and I think I'm going to put it in my rotation for next week. So we'll put that aside. So if we go back to the pen I ordered, so here it is. It's going to be the Talentum. I think this is a nicer looking pen than that Dedalo, just personally, and I should be getting that in a couple of weeks. As soon as it's there, of course, I will be reviewing it. Now, what else do I have for you? Oh, yes. Okay. First thing, I want to show you, I'm going to go to my overhead camera again. What happened was that I was playing around with this. This is the Asvine V200, and I had put in there the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex nib, and I was filling it up. And when I put it in the bottle, I kind of pushed the nib to the bottom of the bottle and pushed too hard. And I damaged, I don't know if you can see that, I damaged that nib. I kind of bent it. I'm trying to bend it back into shape, but I wasn't very successful. So the first thing I did, now it still does kind of write. In fact, it gives me just a different writing experience than the undamaged version of this nib would. It still gives me quite a bit. You can see that when I press it too much, it kind of bleeds. You see that? It gives me a dot. Now, I got to adjust it. I still haven't given up on repairing it, failing which, when I see a penmeister, I'm just going to get him to repair it. But I figured I need a new one, so I ordered another fountain pen revolution nib. What else did I order? I went on a buying spree for flex nibs. So I replaced that one. Then I went on, let me just go back to my computer. I went on flex FP fountain nibs or FP nibs. And under their flex nib section, you can see they have this Yowo 5, they have a Yowo 6, they have a Bach semi-flex, they have a Bach full flex. So I ordered the Schmidt Flex, this Schmidt Flex, and I've also ordered this Kawiko Full Flex. So I've ordered those two, and I was tempted by this guy again, but the Aurora Flex, but again, I think I may have it. So I hesitated on this box Full Flex. I may in the future order it. But you know what? For the time being, I said I've got two more. So those two flex nibs will be coming in. What else have I got for you? Yeah. On Chinese, is it here? Yeah, here it is. I went on Etsy, and Chinese pen, or what used to be called bobby pens. First of all, I ordered myself one of these pliers. Here you go. Just because I thought that's going to help me fix that other nib, and sometimes I need to just pull the nibs out of its mooring, so I figured that can help. I also wanted to order this 601. It's the Wing Sung 601A, but they were all fine nibs, and I noticed that he's got one with a medium nib. See, you've got a selection here. You got fine, medium, and fude. So I ordered there a medium nib. Now, I don't know if he does it himself or if it came, but on AliExpress, I think they only had fine. So I figured I'd order it from him, and AliExpress did not have this dark blue version. So that's coming in. So it's both a pen and a new nib. I also ordered this Mahjong A1 nib. It actually fits the A1, A2, and A3, and it's a medium stub. I thought that was interesting because I just don't like the fine nib that's on that A1. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, what else have I got for you? Oh, yes. This week, Fontaine de Plume, my French friend, showed us two nibs that he bought from a fellow by the name of Sanjay Flex Nibs, an Indian nibmeister. And I love those flex nibs. So I contacted Sanjay, and he sent me two videos of two nibs that I ordered. Let me just show them to you. So this is the first one, which is really a fine flex nib, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun. It's actually extra fine, going to and you can push it to go into broad, I think it is. That's the first one I ordered. Then the second one I ordered is this one, which is a stub flex nib. Sanjay. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun, frankly, with that. So there you have it. Let me just shut those videos down. Yeah, so I think that, with those additions, what in fact I wanted to do is I realized that maybe we could save some money by just using the pens that I have, but replacing the nibs and getting those exciting nibs, either special grinds or, unique in-house nibs. So we can have some variety to the writing experience. Again, you know me. These days, I'm just fed up of Yowo and Bach. I just want something else. I need something else. And, Leonardo La Fenice is always in sight. I'm looking. I'm trying to find a good offering at a reasonable price. I don't want to spend $1,000 on just to test that nib. But all to say that, so I went on a bunch of nib spending spree, and that's what's new in the market. It's really what's new in my market, but there you have it. So stay tuned for the next segment. We're going to take a look at what else is new in the fountain pen studios. Okay, so we're back with my pen haul, or one of the pens that I received this week. And I'm going to do a short unboxing. It's a Peniter pen. And I've been looking for this for a while now. I've not pulled the trigger because of price. And let me just remind you that I do own another Peniter and decided to buy another one. So what is it? Well, let's open it up and see. I did get, the most recent Peniters that I got were ballpoint pens from the experienced sale that's run by Atlas Stationers. But that's, just ballpoint pens, not fountain pens. This is a fountain pen. Beautiful packaging as usual. Peniter's got this great box along with some paper, envelopes, letters. And here's the pen. Yes, indeed, folks. It is another La Grande Bellezza, the great beauty. We'll put this aside. But what's special about this? Well, I do have another one. You'll recall that I reviewed and was very much pleased with my other Grande Bellezza. The only thing that I found was lacking in this one, first of all, the quill nib is just an absolute joy to write with. But it is a medium, and as a medium, it was a little bit too wide for me. Or at least, not put it this way, I enjoyed the medium, but I wanted to see what the fine or extra fine gave as a writing experience. So I've been looking for a fine or an extra fine for some time. I had paid this, I think it was 350 or 300, roughly between 300 and 350 euros, which I found to be a great deal at that time. I think I bought this from Giardino Italiano, if I'm not mistaken. And I very pleased to be able to get a pen like this at that price, especially with that quill nib, that 14K quill. Some would call it a flex, some will call it a soft nib. And so I've been trying to look for another quill nib Peniter, whether it's La Grande Bellezza or other models. And I was at my local Montreal fountain pen or pen store by the name of Stylo CA, or Le Stylo. And I saw this pen, and then I asked the price. It was, it was going for like $500. I asked to speak to the manager. The manager sold this to me for $350 Canadian, which roughly is maybe $230, $235 US. So, almost 210 euros, which is a steal, folks. And reason why I bought it was because this is an extra fine. So it's a 14 karat quill nib, extra fine, Piniter La Grande Bellezza. It is a cartridge converter like the other one. And I'm really, really pleased with the purchase. So it became like a grail hunt for me to try to find this pen at a reasonable price, because you could find it anywhere between $450 to $800 to $1,000 on eBay and various other retailers. But here I've got it for 220 US, 350 Canadian, or 210 euros. Very, very pleased. This is referred to as, let me just read it in the box. It is referred to as the rhodolite red. So it's a gemstone, rhodolite red. Beautiful, beautiful red resin. Very, very nice. So I guess the next thing we should do is to try to find some ink for this pen. How are we going to ink it up? So got my swatch book for where all my red inks, not all, but I'm a little bit behind, but several. We're going to try to find a good match. Something that's exciting. I mean, this Kaweco wouldn't be too bad. This Pen BBS would be even better. Corny Pop Red. Yes, and yeah, I guess so. Especially if it's going to go get that light portion of it. I wanted to ink it with writer's blood. In fact, I have it right here. But writer's blood really comes out kind of purplish. I'm not sure it's the right color. I have Color Traveler. That can be a good match. Mont Blanc Velvet Red, perhaps. Frankly Scarlet, Clay Red, Robert Alster. Color Shift, a little bit too bright. There's Van Diemen's Rhubarb Crumble, but really is more on a purplish side. Pen BS 114. There's Leonardo Red Passion. Oh, I like this one. And then I've got my Majon Beijing Talent. So far, I like these two. Dominant Industry, Romanian Red, could also be a candidate. Waringal, Taxidermied, a little too purplish, I would say. Ottawa Red Roses, but you know, this ink makes a mess of our nibs, so I'm not sure I'm going to go with that. Hongdian Purplish Red, sort of. Conklin Bright Red, sort of. That's it. So, looks like I'm going to go Romanian Red, Leonardo Passion, or Majon. You know what? I'm going to go with the Leonardo Red Passion. Italian ink for an Italian pen. There you go. I'll ink it up and we'll do some writing. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I changed my mind. First of all, the Leonardo didn't have enough ink, so it wasn't pulling up. The converter wasn't. There was just, and I didn't want to, having to put it in, but with a syringe, etc. So then I took a look again at the writer's blood, and I don't know why that swatch gave me that kind of purplish, but I think this is a better match, frankly. So I've gone with Dieman writer's blood. We'll see how it looks in actual writing. I'll take out my notebook. I'm looking forward to seeing how this extra fine nib works. Will it be as bouncy and as soft and I would say almost flexy as the, where's my notebook? As the medium nib? I don't know. We shall see, I guess. But here we go. And we'll do a comparison. So this is the Penider La Grande Bellezza and Rhodolite Red. Rhodolite, is that? Rhodolite, yeah. And the nib is a extra fine. Okay. What do I like about it and what I don't like about it? First of all, it doesn't write like an extra fine. That I can tell you. And one of the things that people have said about the Penider quill nib is that it really isn't a flex nib, that it's more of a soft nib, and that gives you just a thicker line when you press on paper. And as you can see, you know, when I press on that, I just get more ink. Not much more ink, because I'm getting a lot of it anyway, but as you can see, if I press, I'm getting even more. And it's certainly not an extra fine. But I find that this nib doesn't give me the same flex and I'm glad I got extra fine instead of fine, because had I gotten fine, there wouldn't be much difference. I find that this medium is a flex. I mean, this thing really, I don't know if you can see that, really flexes. Now, does it open the tines? Not really. It just flexes. That's why they say it's a soft nib as opposed to a flex. It just gives me more ink. That's all it does. But this is much flexier, or softer, or bouncier than this one. This one's much stiffer. Don't know why. And the line between the medium and the extra fine, yeah, there's a difference. But let me tell you, this is a very wet extra fine. So at the end of the day, this nib, I don't like extra fine nibs. The only reason why I got it, because it's the special was with this extra fine, and I figured it's going to be wide enough anyway. There's going to be a lot of ink, and I was right about that. But it's because that bouncy medium was so bouncy that sometimes you couldn't control the writing. Here I can't control the writing. The writing, it writes like a medium broad, and it's much more controlled. So the writing experience is gorgeous. It gives me that bounce with control. Well, another hunt comes to an end. Finally got what I wanted. I don't think I need the fine, frankly, because the difference between the fine and the medium will be minimal. At least I got the extra fine. I'm glad it's extra fine. And that's it for the quill nib. I don't think I need to get any other quill nibs. So there you have my pen haul, or one of the pens for this week that I wanted to feature for you. There you go. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, so with regard to new paper spotlight at Fountain Pen Therapy, these are notebooks that I've had in my collection, so they're not something new that I've ordered, but I figured I'd put them in the spotlight for you this week. And that's what I'm going to do. You know, if I don't get any new paper, I have plenty of other paper and notebooks that I can show you, and that I'm going to be using for my ink swatching along with my TOMOE River, and that I'm also going to be using to kind of, do some writing samples with some of the pens, etc., etc. We're going to kind of, instead of doing it on a TOMOE River, we'll do it on this STALOGY notebooks. Now, these STALOGY notebooks come in this A4 size. They come in a notebook A5, and you can have the thicker version, which covers practically a year, or you can have it in the half, so 100 and whatever it is, 180 pages, and you get it in the small A6 size as well. I've got all grid, but I thought I'd show you that, and we can do some swatching on this paper along with the TOMOE River, and we'll do some writing. So that's what's going to be in the spotlight for you this week, if you will, in terms of paper. So without any further ado, what we'll do is we'll put this aside, set up for my ink swatching, and I'll show you what I have for you in terms of 3 new inks that we'll swatch and write with, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're ready for some ink swatching therapy, if you will. You'll remember that last week we reviewed these Dieman 160 years celebration, and there are 6. It's a collection of 6. We reviewed the Port of Call, Canal Side, and Rosewood. Here are the swatches on the TOMOE River that we did for you last week. As you can see, some very beautiful inks. I really like, these days I like these turquoise or light blues, but the rosewood is very nice, and the green is kind of a darkish green with a little bit of red sheening there. So those were the 3 that we reviewed for you last week. So we put those aside, and the other 3 of the collection that we will be swatching this week are this teal, tariff teal, this wax seal that appears to be kind of a red-orange. We'll see how it all unfolds. And this is the Athol Violet, which I had a hard time getting. It's been months that I've been running around for this one. I finally got it so that I could present these other 3, part 2, if you will. So those are the 3 inks that we will be swatching this week. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the paper, the 2 will be my standard TOMOE River, which is really the base for me. And this will be the STALOGY paper, and we'll see how those inks perform on those 2 notebooks or paper. Now, I'm all set. So let's start with the tariff teal. Shake it up a little bit. They're not shimmering inks, so which is good, because these days shimmering inks don't really attract me that much. So okay, sorry about that. Just a short interruption. Okay, so the first one will be this tariff teal. Let's see what this produces. Fairly dark color right off the bat. We'll do the same with this STALOGY paper. I can tell you right away that the STALOGY paper has got some texture and dries up really quick as compared to the TOMOE River. Now, I made a mistake. Here are the pens that I've swatched with these 3 inks. I meant to swatch the teal, and of course this teal Santini, Boreal, and the violet in this Scribo, but I did the opposite. But I'm sure you'll forgive me for this. So the teal is really ultimately in the Scribo. So this is the Dieman. #160 anniversary. And this is the tariff. Is it 2 Fs? Yes. Tariff teal. And just to lay down a little more ink. There you go. Fairly dark color, I gotta tell you. Okay, so we'll see how it all dries up, though. So that's tariff teal. Next, we'll swatch the red one, or wax seal, which I'm assuming is red, but it could be more on the orange. You can see there it's kind of an orangey red. Nice punchy red. Wow, let me tell you, the ink on this paper just dries up instantly, almost. I have a hard time getting the folded nib to slide on the paper. It just dries up. Oh, I forgot to. My apologies, I forgot to write here the same thing, right? So this is Dieman #160. Let me just move anniversary. It's a lot of years. And this is wax. No, sorry. This is tariff teal. And we will write down very enjoyable writing experience on the STALOGY. Just a hint of feedback. You'll see that there is some feathering, but well, this is a very thick pen, so okay, let's go back here. In fact, they're all pretty thick pens that I've chosen because this is an Ultraflex. So this is the Dieman #160 anniversary. Wax seal. I recommend, folks, that you all buy this pen and install that nib. Just fabulous writing experience. Okay, let's see what this one gives. Okay, I'm really disappointed in the feathering that I'm seeing on this paper, which is, I would say to you, a little unusual. I've never thought that STALOGY would have that kind of of feathering, but we'll press on. We'll press on, as they say. Now we're going to do this violet. Beautiful violet. Oh, that is an absolutely gorgeous violet. Was worth the wait. Whoops. Maybe we should do it right away. Here we go. Yeah, really comes down and dries really quickly. Okay, so that takes care of the swatching. Go back in the box, and got the writing sample. I have this super fine flex on this Santini. So this is a Dieman 160. And they call this one Athol Violet. Do the same here. So there you have it. Those are the swatches and the preliminary writing samples. Right away I can tell you I don't like this feathering here, but let's give it a go. We haven't finished yet. Let these things dry up, or these samples dry up, do some comparisons and some final conclusions on what I think are three beautiful inks. Stay tuned. Okay, the TOMOE River is taking some time to dry, and I'm just not patient enough. But I think it gives you a very good idea that, first of all, that teal is a very dark teal. Beautiful red sheening. It's almost a blue, a black teal, if you will. The red is a pretty straightforward red with some shading, a touch of darker brown sheening, if you will. Purple is going to be a nice one. Maybe I should have been a little more patient because I've got a feeling you're going to see some very nice brown, reddish sheen there, outlining this beautiful violet ink. So that's a nice one. In terms of how it performs on the back side, typical TOMOE River, 56 grams. There's some ghosting on the swatching, but very little ghosting on the actual writing, and this despite the fact that I essentially used 3 flex nibs. Okay, on the STALOGY, I don't know if you can see this, but there is some feathering, lot less on the violet, but there is a lot of feathering on the red wax seal and the tariff teal, and the colors are pretty flat. There's really just a slight touch of shading, but there's no sheening there. So, and STALOGY does have that. It's a very nice paper, but it doesn't bring out the inks. So for those of you who wondered, and there is lots of see-through. And this, I've got to tell you, surprises me enormously because I didn't think that it would be that bad. But there you have the STALOGY. I'm going to see, this is one sheet of paper that came from the A4. We're going to do some testing with the A5 paper. Maybe there's a difference there. But when we do some writing, we'll take a look at it right away. but again, a little disappointing. But for those of you who wondered whether STALOGY could be, some have touted it as a good replacement for TOMOE River. Not based on these swatches anyway. So there you have the ink therapy for you today. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, for the next segment, well, let's take a look at what I have as currently inked pens and the pens that I used this week. First of all, I used this flathead Wingsung 630, or is it 699? I keep forgetting. 630, with this beautiful number 8 size nib that I really, really enjoy. I love these Wingsung 630s, I got to tell you. So that was my red, because I always have a red one. I used my beautiful one pen, one of one, the Napoli C, made for me by Nino Marino of Delta when I visited him at his factory. Beautiful gift that I will cherish forever, and I'll show you in a minute how this thing writes. I ended up inking this thing 3 times. I used it so much. Well, last week I reviewed for you this beautiful Visconti Opera Master. So it was part of my my weekly run as well, along with my Pelikan M1000, which is a broad nib which wrote like a gusher. I had my this, in fact, I've described it before as my Pelikan 400, but it's really my R600 as it turns out. But it's a roller ball because, as I mentioned to you, I'm now making sure I always have a roller ball, a ballpoint, and a pencil in my current inks. I also took this beautiful nibbed. I love this nib. It's a number 8 sized in this Jinhao 9019. Very good writer. I then also wanted to make sure I kept in the fold these 2 pens that I had inked last week. I wanted to test for their to see if they dry on you. So I didn't use them, consistently. We inked them up last week for my recap. I did a midweek test, and they were gushers. They were perfectly, no dryness at all. And we're going to do some testing now just to see if they've kind of survived the testing exercise. I had this is a Peniter ballpoint. Beautiful, very nice Peniter. And I have a Dolce Vita Delta pencil for the week, which is a vintage. I love this pencil. So there you have my pencils. Now, in terms of, let's do some writing with this STALOGY notebook, just to kind of test it, because I'm really, really disappointed in the way those swatches turned out. Let me just close in. That way, if there is any feathering, you'll be able to see it even more. So again, this 630, there's usually just a little bit of, here we go. So this is the Wingsung flat top 630, and with a number 8 medium nib. Now, I will be ordering. I'm going to tell you that you saw those nibs that I ordered from Chinese Pens or from Bobby. Bobby does make with this nib, but he turns it into a stub. So I'm thinking about it. I don't like the pricing, a little too expensive, because I'm thinking about buying more of these pens, not in the flat top, but in the regular, the Mont Blanc 149 look, if you will, more the cigar shaped. And I'm thinking about it. I'm going to see if I'm going to pull the trigger on that stub. This pen was got just a little hint of feedback. It's got a beautiful Delta, original Delta, number 18 karat medium nib. So this is the Delta Napoli C. With an 18 karat medium nib. Isn't that nice? Wow. And let's see, the paper so far is not, you see the paper is not feathering. I'm just wondering if it was that, just that one page. This is the Visconti, this is thinner, and we're going to test this. Visconti Opera Master with a 18 karat, and this one is a fine nib. Now, I'm going to do the Pelican just because it's so broad and gushy, just to test this paper one more time, because I don't want to leave you with the wrong impression. So this is the Pelican M1000, again 18 karat, and this is the broad nib. Any paper that can take this pen is a good paper. And as you can see, I'm not getting the same feathering as I did with that one sheet. So, you know, you got to be careful. Let's test. Let me just test the TWSBI and the Narwhal to see if they've dried up on me. So this is the, no. Far from it. So this is the TWSBI VAC. What is it? They call it, I think, the 700R with a 1.1 stub. And that will test this paper as well while we're at it. So no drying issue with this one. What about the Narwhal? Narwhal in the past have given me some difficulty, but we'll see if this one resists. So this is the, yeah, not a problem. Narwhal Original Plus with a 1.1 stub. And folks, I wrote with this twice. I did the same thing midweek, just wrote 2 lines, and I'm doing it now, and perfectly wet, not an issue whatsoever. So there you have the currently ink. I'm not going to do the ball points and the roller ball, but in terms of what I see on the other side, let's just see, because I don't see, as you can see, I don't see very much feathering. And these are all pretty thick and wet inks because I don't use anything other than that. And very little ghosting. A little bit more on the stubs and on that M1000, but probably would have gotten the same thing on my TOMOE River. Frankly, a little more ghosting, I would say to you, on the STALOGY, but still very acceptable. But we'll keep going. We got other writing samples to do, so we're going to test this paper even more. So those are my currently inked. Let me just put that together with the actual pens. Give you a nice look at my currently inked. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, so we're back with what I think I'm going to be inking up. Well, they're all already inked. What I think I'm going to be using next week. First of all, while I, inked these 3 pens, we just saw it in the ink swatching. So these 3 will be in the mix with those new Dieman inks. I've also compared for you, and I'm hoping you guys help me, these 2 Auroras, fine nib and what I think may be a fine flex in my 88. Why not? We will use those as well. Then you saw my comparison of the newly acquired Peniter quill nib with La Grande Bellezza with the extra fine as compared to La Grande Bellezza that has a medium. We've just done the pen haul and the unboxing of these pens. I'm going to put both of them in my weekly rotation. These 2 pens, stay tuned. They form part of a question that I was asked in my Q&A that will be following soon. It is the Asvine P20 and the Ongdian N12. But I've inked them up especially to answer that particular question of one of my viewers, and I figure why not? I'll throw them into my rotation for next week. And I will be adding a ballpoint. I will keep that roller ball from Pelican, and I'll add a pencil as well to kind of round things off, and that will form my weekly pen rotation. So there you have it. We've written with all these pens already, so I won't do any additional writing samples. We'll be right back for my next segment. Now, for my next segment, I thought I'd share with you what I'm hunting for these days. I call it my fountain pen itches. What's itching? And I've been shopping around for the following pens, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to pull the trigger on. But I keep shopping in the hope of finding something that will meet my expectations and especially price. First of all, I got the Pelican M800 is always on my mind. I got the Pelican M800 nib that I put on a Admoc. It's a broad nib, but I'm really thinking about buying an actual M800. So that's the first one on my mind. The second one is the Platinum. I finally bought a 3776, which is right here. 1 second. It should be right in front of me. Yeah, that's the Platinum 3776 in this beautiful red transparent resin and very nice gold trimmings. But I'm thinking about getting, that's the 3776, excuse me. I'm thinking about getting the Platinum President. I've seen some prices, and I can probably get those, at a good price. When I find one, I'm waiting for Peyton Street to, offer one. The next one is this Pilot Justice with that adjustable nib. I saw it on special at one of my local stores at the same time that I bought my Violet ink and my Peniter La Grande Bellezza that I've reviewed or that I showed you earlier. And I saw that there is this Pilot Justice that's on sale for $430, I think it is Canadian, which is roughly 300 US and a little bit less in euros, which might be a good deal. But I want to compare, and then I'm going to push the owner of that local store to see if he can give me an additional discount. Leonardo La Fenice nib is always on my mind. I found some at $500, $600 US, number 8 size nibs with the number 8 La Fenice nib. So that's always there on my mind. But I'm wondering whether or not I'm better off just getting a Santini faceted number 8 sized 18 karat flexi nib. So that's also on my mind. And this Waterman Karen is also on my mind, and I'm waiting for Peyton Street to put one up, maybe a used one up for sale. But those are my pen itches these days. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, next segment, YouTube reviews. Well, First of all, let's look at fountain pen therapy, what we've got. Please check out my last week's recap. If you haven't already, here is a thumbnail of that recap. There's some, you'll see some titles there featuring what my features were that week, and that check the timestamps. That may be of interest for you. There's also the shootout at the Paper Corral, which is I invite you to take a look at, where I compare TOMOE River to a series of other seven other notebook and different types of paper. And we're going to get to that in a second, because I've got something in response to one of my fellow YouTubers with regard to that Paper Corral video. We also have my Opera Master, which I reviewed last week, as you know. What's coming up? Well, we've got the Dieman collection. We've got the Cypress pen. Also, the Radius Settimo and the Stipula Lucens. All of reviews have been done. Eventually, they will all get published. I also got this new one. Here is a thumbnail where I do a comparison of low budget or of budget vac fillers. And that should get published sometime soon. So there you have it in terms of what's new or what's there for my own YouTube reviews. What have I got for you in terms of the next segment is Q&A. So I've got, 4 questions that I want to answer. So give me a second. We're going to set up and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back for the Q&A, if you will, right? And most of these things, well, let's get rid of some of the easier ones, or the easiest one. One of the viewers asked me the Asvine C2000, the big stable wood pen. Here it is. Here's one of them that I have. It's got that beautiful number 8 size Asvine nib. And he was asking whether or not Asvine or anybody is selling the nibs separately, because he's not happy with one of his choices. He wanted to get another grind. And the answer is that I have not been able to find any of the sites selling just the nib. But stay tuned. That they could be upcoming soon. I'm not sure how Asvine is going to treat that. I know the rest of the nibs, the extra fine and medium nibs that they sell, the steel number 6, are sold separately. Did they come out right away? I believe shortly after those nibs were being offered in their pens, they were being sold separately. So stay tuned. Maybe that number 8 size nib will form part of their future offerings. But for the time being, and please viewers, if you've seen them, let me know. Let this viewer know, and we can inform them accordingly. But I haven't seen it. So that's the easiest question. The next question is, one of my viewers is thinking about between the Asvine P20 and the Dieman N12. Let's go down to the table. We'll show him some different looks and maybe help this viewer make his choice. And these 3 we'll reserve for the next question. So we're looking at these 2 for the time being, this is the Asvine P20, which is almost a lookalike of the Momento Zero Leonardo. And this is the Dieman N12, which is kind of gets inspired, a little bit inspired by the Pelican M800, if you will. We're going to keep using the STALOGY paper because I just want to keep testing this paper. What's the difference? Well, first of all, they are both piston fillers. The advantage of the Asvine, in my view, is that it has a very nice ink window, and the N12, unfortunately, does not have an ink window, so that's a pain, and it may be a deal breaker for somebody. In terms of size, they're pretty well, equivalent sizes, a little bit of different looks. One more Pelicanish, the other one more Leonardo Momento Zero look. You can enjoy that band, a little more trimming on the Asvine. I think that the resins are comparable. This Galaxy, and I think the N12 comes in different colors as well, and so does the P20. So, you know, the nibs, the clips, well, there you have it. One has got that roller clip, and the other one is a kind of a straightforward pelican-looking clip. So there you have the outside. Let's take a look at how they... Oh, in terms of nibs, they all have extra fine, fine, and medium. If you get this particular nib, it depends. If it comes with the older nibs, then you're not going to get the same variety. But these new nibs, this one's a medium and that one's a medium. So we'll compare medium with medium. What does it look like? Let's see the writing experience. So this is the RHODIA N12 with the medium nib. I would say that this nib has a little bounce, just slight. I think it is not as stiff as the Asvine that we will take a look at in a second. In terms of line, they're both medium. So this is the Asvine P20 with the medium nib as well. By the way, these are both Dieman 160th anniversary that we just looked at. This one is the blue port of call, and this one is the violet. So in terms of quality, we're dealing with both with Dieman inks. Very comparable. I would say to you that the Asvine is a little more closer to medium than RHODIA is. And so it's a little bit of a thicker line, okay? But it's a stiff nib. So there you have it. I think ultimately the deciding factor, they're both well-made nibs, pens. I would go for the Asvine for two reasons. One, I like their nibs are a little wetter, okay? There is a drying issue with this RHODIA N12. After a while, it does dry up on you. I don't feel that the same drying issue is present with this Asvine. The ink window is maybe a factor. In terms of posting, this posts a little at the top, but very comfortable. It sits over that piston filler, mind you. And what about the N12? This posts a little bit deeper, much deeper and more securely than the Asvine. So, and you can take a look at my detailed reviews for both in the event that you're still undecided. But there you have it. So I would give the slight nod to the Asvine P20. So those are those two. The next viewer, just let me get a sip of my, asked me, he likes this Lemon M6. Doesn't like the fact that they put the 5-starred flake on top, not 6 points, but still pretty blatant. This is the Little Prince imitation. But he wants to compare that to the Wing Sung 629 or the 630. First of all, this aside, this pen is just an absolutely gorgeous writer because of that lemon kind of architect nib. So this is the Lemon M6 with a lemon Architect medium nib. It just writes like a charm, folks. So if you get that same nib, the chances are, I mean, look, mileage can vary and sometimes it's hit and miss, but beautiful nib, very nice construction. Both, this is it a piston filler? No, it's a, yes, it is a piston filler. And it does have a slotted ink window, so they're all piston fillers. But you're going to have to live with that. But very nice. Now, between the 629, this is the 629. So the 629 is a much smaller version compared to the 630. I mean, I can show you how they write. This is also a piston filler, very light, a cheapish kind of quality construction. So this is the Wing Sung 629. It has a number 6 size nib. It's also a piston filler. But, you know, I would not choose this one over the lemon, nor would I choose the 629 over the 630. So definitely I would put this one aside. The real question is between this beautiful 630 and that lemon M6. Now, this has got a number 8 size nib. It's got it's a piston filler with a beautiful ink window, and I think you can get it in either this slotted version or just a clear ink window. So this is the Wing Sung 630, and this has the number 8. This is a medium. And in terms of writing experience, it's equivalent to the lemon. But I got to tell you, this 630, I'm a little biased. Well, biased. It's my preference, right? It's got nothing to do with being biased. It's that at the end of the day, if I have to choose between this lemon, M6, or this 630, which is really a 149, so they're both kind of inspired by Mont Blanc, I definitely would go with the 630. The writing experience is great. You get a number 8 size nib. Really, really juicy. That Wing Sung nib is just really, really soft and wet. So, viewer, forget your name. Between these two, I would definitely get the 630, and I think you can get it in, I think you can get it in flat top or cigar shaped, and I think they're cheaper than the Lemon M6 last time I checked. So there you have that comparison. Hope that clarifies things for that viewer. Okay, but that 630 is just, and as I said, I'm thinking about getting more of them. So put them all and there's always going to be a 630. In that case, there will always be a 630 in my weekly rotation, just because they're just a great pen. Next question is, it kind of touches, let me see if I have them both here, two Visconti pens. So let me go to my overhead camera again. Yeah, I think the viewer was thinking about whether he would pull the trigger on this Homo sapiens, and he was wondering about that fine nib, whether it had any bounce. And recently I purchased this other Visconti fine nib, and I thought for that viewer, I would do kind of, I think he eventually found my review, and I probably answered this question, but in terms of comparison, I just feel that the Homo sapien nib has got a little more bounce to it. This is the Visconti Opera Master. It has a fine nib. It is soft, not to the point where it's flexed, but it's soft. It's very wet, and it's most consistent. And you can see there's a little bit of bounce that will give you a little bit of line variation. Very nice writing experience. When I compare it, and it may be a question of inks, when I compare it to this one, they're both fine nibs, but man, no, am I mistaken? No, both fine nibs, but this has got a lot more spring to it. This is soft, bouncy, and you can see it in the line, much thicker. It's almost coming down like a medium. It's also very consistent. I just feel it has a lot more bounce. Sorry, my trembling hands don't do a good job, but I really think, Mr. Viewer, that this nib, and you know, I think we're overdoing it with Visconti nibs. I know I was one of them. They were a disaster, but I think the new nibs that they've got on their current pens rarely present a problem. But again, speculation on my part, but I think that maybe their bad reputation based on their old nibs may be overdone, and that maybe they've turned things around. All I can say is that I now purchased in the last 2 years 3 pens, and the other one is a steel nib pen, and all 3 nibs have given me nothing but joy. This one I bought at experience sale at Atlas, and somebody was complaining about the nib. There's nothing wrong with this nib. There really isn't. I think what happens, they don't like the color, or they don't like the price, or they don't like the feel, and then they return it. And you know what? Brendan Schmidt sells them for us once a month on sale. And I just love these two. So to answer that viewer's question, I think your Visconti Homo sapiens has got a little bounce, and it's soft. It's a really nice nib. So there you have the questions. Now, was there any more? Let me just check my iPad. Was there any other questions that I needed to answer? No, that's it, folks. So that's it. So that ends that. We're going to keep doing these question and answer. If you've got questions for me, please let me know, and we'll reserve them for the recap every month. So I'll be right back. Okay, for this last segment, I thought I'd have some fun with one of my fellow YouTubers who I've, grown to be very fond of because of his expertise and his videos. Une Fontaine des Plumes, French fellow. He does all of his videos in French, but you've got translations, automatic translation at the bottom. I really recommend. He does absolutely fabulous reviews, very technical. He goes down to the nitty gritty. He'll look at the clip and he'll measure and he'll feel, and I mean, he will get down to the nitty gritty, much more detailed than a lot of reviewers, and gives his opinion. He calls it the way it is, and it is what it is. And by the way, he's got a beautiful collection of pens. Anything from Chinese to expensive Italian pens to Indian pens, he does it all. So lots of variety, a little bit like this channel. We don't only look at certain certain marks or certain brands. So, but one of the challenges he made, I'm not sure it was a challenge, it was an intelligent comment, in my paper review or my paper corral challenge, you know that TOMOE River, the original paper, is my favorite paper. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what anybody says. For me, the best writing experience is with that paper. Yes, it's more expensive. Yes, it's gone out. There's no more. So we may not have, inventory to purchase from, but I don't care. I've purchased tons of it, and I'm good until I die. At least I hope. And, RHODIA paper is often a litmus or a base that a lot of people use and that a lot of people swear by. I think it's much better than Clairefontaine. I think it's much better than many other brands. Would I prefer RHODIA over TOMOE River? No. Why? Well, I explained it in my paper corral video. Okay, I think I did anyway. But Fontaine de Plume said to me, well, you should give it the flex test. In other words, let's test the TOMOE River with thick flex nibs and see what kind of results we get, and will that convince me that maybe RHODIA is the way to go? So what I've done, let's go to the top. To be fair, the RHODIA paper is 80 grams. Okay, the TOMOE River I use is 52, 56. I always forget, either 52 or 56. And this one, in fact, is the 68 TOMOE River. So we'll do all three and see whether or not some people may be influenced and prefer the RHODIA. I don't care what happens with this test. TOMOE River is my favorite. But, let's do the test, right? I haven't done it before, so we'll do it on the spot. First of all, we'll get this big, juicy Mag 600. So this is the, this is the Magna Carta Mag 600. Okay, the paintbrush pen, as I like to call it. This is the RHODIA. And this one is the 68 gram. Next pen I'd like to use, and that he suggested that maybe I use, is this wet and juicy Pennider medium nib, the quill nib. Okay, why don't we do one more pen, because I don't want to bore you guys. Maybe two. Okay. I'm going to use the scribble, just because the scribble just kind of comes down real thick. So this is the scribble Lavota with the field reflection in. I'm sorry, but you cannot compare the writing experience. This RHODIA paper, as performing as it may be, just takes all the fun away from the writing. Okay, one more. Okay, sorry guys, one more. Let's do, which one writes thicker? Probably, oh, you know what? We will get my Where is it? My Pelican. It's not a flex, but it's so juicy and wet that even on this RHODIA, this thing is thick. Okay, thank you for being patient. Okay, so I've done the 3. Now, let's look. There is no feathering on any of this paper. Okay, let's make it perfectly clear. Not be it the thinner TOMOE River or the RHODIA. They are very, very nice fountain pen papers. Nobody's going to deny that. In terms of ghosting, on the other side, there's no blotches. A little bit of ghosting on the TOMOE River 68. There is a little bit of ghosting as well. No blotches on the 50, 52 or 56. I keep forgetting. In fact, they're pretty equivalent, even though one is much thicker than the other. Okay? And on the RHODIA, I suspect there's nothing either. Let me just, here. Ha! There is some penetration with my Magna Carta and with my Peniter. Just a slight that I don't see in either one of the TOMOE Rivers. See some ghosting, a little more pronounced on the thicker pens, as you can see here. But there's no penetration. Okay, so there you have it. You wanted me to do the flex test. I've done it, and I am not convinced that the writing experience is any better on this RHODIA, but it's still a very nice paper. The advantage of all this, of course, is that these things, this RHODIA, you can get it in all kinds of formats and much, much, much more available and cheaper than the TOMOE River, which is now out of business. So that is probably the key, right? And I think that's the point that Fontaine de Plume was trying to make, that at the end of the day, you got to get over it, Vince. These things, there's no more supply, so you're going to have to get used to something else. And TOMOE River Sanson is not doing the trick. So RHODIA may end up being my fall or paper. But I'm still looking. And I don't know, there is that Chinese imitation of the Hobonichi, the Kimbor that I use on a daily basis. I don't know what paper is in there. I'm still investigating. But let me tell you, maybe we'll bring that notebook in next week and we'll do some comparisons. And I'll show you how really worthwhile that alternative Chinese paper might be for all of us. So there you have it. Fontaine de Plume, merci. On s'est amusé, hein? On a fait des comparaisons. Je ne suis pas convaincu. D'après moi, TOMOE River est le gagnant. Mais ceci étant dit, il ne faut pas sous-estimer le RHODIA. Évidemment, le RHODIA a ses qualités, ça coûte moins cher, etc., 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 etc. Just speaking to my fellow Frenchmen. So, thank you very much. Grazie molto, ragazzi e ragazze. And be well. Fountain pen therapy. I just had a blast. You know what? Cheers, folks. Take care.